Yes, people. It's back again. Raps on TV. You know how we do. Big weekend of boxing, so we're here to discuss the latest things that took place. Waiting for your input. Appreciate all the love as per usual. All the fans supporting on Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. So before we move any further, I want to say what's up to my host. Inam, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. What's up, coach? Great weekend of boxing again. So I know he can't come back. His performance we're going to rate to see, still the same American of old. Obviously, like Porter and Garcia. We saw Eggington get scrambled.
Fried. There must be a lot of puns happening for that this week.
I can imagine, And of course, we got the mega fight coming up this weekend. Triple G Canelo 2, which we're going to preview tonight. What would you, coach?
As you said, packed agenda. Also, a couple of questions we want to ask after the boxing that took place with Danny Garcia and Sean Porter over in the US. Eventful in the ring, but not only in the ring, outside the ring. Very clear to see a row full of a PBC stable, ranging from Hurd, the Charlos, Broner, Spence, Thurman. It makes me want to ask the question, does PBC have the best stable in boxing? So we can get into that a bit later. And also going to touch on the news that Frank Warren and Bob Arum have signed and what they call an exclusive deal to showcase Top Rank and UK fights together. So that's a multi-year deal. Something I'm sure Warren will be bragging about in the next few days. What does that mean for the Fury and Wilder fight? Potentially, could that cause any issues? So yeah, we'll get into that. But I think the key thing to touch on this weekend, tonight, is Amir Khan, second fight back under the Matchroom banner. It's actually quite funny. I saw a clip on Twitter, and it was kind of like a collage of Eddie Hearn quotes leading up to the moment he signed Khan. And yeah, to say that Hearn changes his tune would be an understatement. But overall, what do you think of Khan's performance on Saturday night in Birmingham against Vargas?
I think he started cautiously. Second round did really, really well. The same Khan. Put down got Vargas. Went down himself. And after that, I just didn't see the Khan of old. There was the speed was there, but it wasn't like the blistering speed of old. We were just, absolutely just, paralysing an opponent who doesn't know what's going on. I think it's a combination of age and ring rust. So I don't know if it's really ring rust, but you can see the age is catching up. He seemed a bit more tired during the mid rounds, which is probably really more to do with the fact that he's not being in open combat in the ring. So based on that performance, it was a very average performance. I say it wasn't a fantastic performance. Yeah, he comprehensively beat this guy as expected to do, but on that performance, I really can't see him doing anything at the top tier of 147. And even with the likes of someone like Book and Pacquiao, I don't see where he goes. What about yourself? How do you rate the?
Yeah, I think.
How do you rate that?
If I hear what you're saying, I'd say, my overall score, I guess, would be probably 6 out of 10. I think, to be honest, early. It's funny you say you felt he started cautiously. I thought he started well, especially I felt he was going to get Vargas out there early. Even from the first round, he was landing good shots. He was evading shots. And I thought, okay, he looked good. Made me think, okay, Vargas, what level was he? But I thought, second fight back, he's impressive. Knocked him down. I thought, okay, here we go. Because I felt that would have been a statement for your second fight to come back and you win in the second round. And then, he got knocked down, and it's like the game plan went out the window. It was like when he exchanged with Vargas, it was kind of like who was going to get the next, sort of like devastating blow in to kind of end the fight, which neither of them did. I won't say, from a punch that perspective that Vargas was in the fight, but it was just for the fact that we all knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to set up the right. And there were times he had Khan wobbled. I do think Khan deserved the points decision though. And I think, it's like you said, did I think Khan would come back and challenge, some of the names that we talk about at 147? I didn't. I really didn't. I felt it was a comeback to what I guess he stated, ideally a Brook fight or a Pacquiao fight. So yeah, overall, I would say it was a 6 out of 10 performance.
How would you? I mean, if you suck next, I mean, given the fact that Brook's been out, for a while as well, he's obviously forcing Brook to come down to 147, which I think will be a challenge for Brook, because I think that's a leaving weight range. So we'll have a combination of someone who has been at the ring for a while, and I reckon Khan's going to try and push it as far as possible so he gets one more ring rust for Brook. Yeah? So, combination of ring rust plus dragging this guy down to 147 pounds, does that even out what we saw with Khan, this, the additional vulnerabilities, getting tight in the mid rounds? Khan versus Brook, who wins?
Yeah, good question. I think the good question, and the thing is, what I kind of, as you were saying, I was thinking to myself, who's the better boxer? And I still would probably say Khan. I don't think Brook's a horrible boxer, but you know my feeling on Brook from way back. Even when you gave him props, I was like, I think he's overrated. I don't see it. So I think Khan is still the better boxer. I just think, can he be smart enough? I mean, he still took some good shots from Vargas and didn't go down again. But it was a shame that his vulnerability was shown again, because after the Canelo loss, that was a few years ago. He'd come back. If he could have won the fight without being knocked down, I think it gives him more credibility. Now, no matter what, even if you want to say Khan, you will have that caveat of as long as he doesn't take a big shot, which is boxing,
100%,
right?
100%. The thing is, Khan. The thing about Khan is, can you say he's a good boxer, or is he just a really exceptionally fast boxer? I think he's just an exceptionally fast boxer. If he was a truly good boxer, he wouldn't be caught as often as he's caught and where he goes down, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Yeah, come on, think about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess my point is no.
Again.
I'm agreeing with you. I guess my point is, I'm saying, who's the better boxer? I think Khan's better boxer is a better boxer than Brook.
Well, I don't know. So this is what I'm trying to break down and analyse, right? So the next thing is, we see his footwork, in getting out of difficult situations isn't really that good. We see him in the corner with someone like Vargas, right? You can imagine if he's trapped in a corner with someone like Brook, heavy-handed punches coming in, right? There's going to be a lot more damage, right? In terms of boxing, right? If you look at the Porter v Brook fight, you can see Brook's, boxing ability. The way he was timing the shots, the way, waiting for Porter to rush in and then timing him with an uppercut or the jab, So Brook has got tremendous timing, right? And really, I think he's got a strong jab. Even with the Errol Spence fight, right? It was a tight fight up until 7, 8, 9 rounds. In fact, I had Brook up.
See,
right?
I mean, yeah, that's where you like Brook.
Damaged. Yeah, it's only when his eye got damaged that's when he sort of gave up, right? But it was a competitive fight,
See,
right?
I didn't think so. So let me come back to you quickly on the Porter thing. So I definitely hear what you might say in terms of the speed, but I would kind of say, listen, Khan's timing is good, because I don't like to say halfway through your fight, but let's not forget, with the Canelo fight, Khan was surprising everybody because he was outboxing Canelo, and we know the game plan was obviously the big shot, but he was able to outbox him for 2 or 3 rounds. So I think don't underrate his boxing ability.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point. He was actually outboxing Canelo. So I mean, compared to Brook and Khan, I mean, if we do a line by line comparison, I think unless he gets caught, and I think the stamina issue Khan displayed in that fight is going to go with another 3-4 months of training, another competitive fight. I think that's going to go.
Yeah,
Brook has always had stamina issues. Always. I remember when he fought Carson Jones the first time, right? He was getting bludgeoned in the second half of the fight.
Exactly.
He was lucky he got through that fight. He's always had major stamina issues. Same thing happened in the Errol Spence fight.
Yep.
Second half of the fight, cannot deal with. If you've got stamina issues, you cannot deal with someone like Errol, mate.
Yeah, and also don't forget, Errol was working the body. The other thing as well for me, and
exactly,
like, I'm not saying Brook is a poor fighter, but I don't rate him that highly, like I said. And for me, it's like, when I think of like opposition, what opposition has he really even cornered like that? You've seen him, he's got in a corner, and like you've seen him kind of like, I mean, I don't know if Brook would have beat Maidana. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I mean, let's do this. Like, on a line-by-line basis, without any objectivity, we cannot say on paper Khan is the better fighter. He has by far fought the better fighters. I'm not going to talk about Malinaji.
Yeah, so you're talking about Brook. You can't say you're saying Brook's not the better fighter, sorry, you know.
Yes, I'm saying Khan's clearly the better fighter.
Yeah,
you know, look at the way he absolutely mauled Paulie Malinaji. Did you watch the Malinaji fight?
Exactly.
He absolutely mauled him, right? Malinaji then went on to become a 147-pound champ, gave Adrian Broner a competitive fight.
Yep.
Right? You understand? You know, he beat Zab Judah, right? He beat Zab Judah, stopped Zab Judah. I mean, you can't compare the resumes. Look at Maidana. Maidana was at its peak. You put Maidana down in the second round.
Yep.
You know, so who has, generally who has brought forward? I mean, he brought Sean Porter. I thought he lost to Sean Porter. I actually thought even Sky. If you go back and listen to the commentating by Jim Watts, they had him losing.
Yeah.
Right? It was incredibly surprising that he won. Right. And then he had his first. Then he had 3 absolute joke fights after that.
Exactly.
Right? Joe Dan and God knows who else. I can't remember that now. Right?
Frankie Gavin. I mean, come on.
And again, he was basically trying to get the Khan fight. You know, I've always thought of Brook as a bit of a fraud. Right from the start. You know, I remember, he had one fight in Sheffield after the second Carson Jones fight, and Eddie Hearn was like, their next fight, you will not believe who we've got. And I think, God, who have they got? Who have they got? This must be a serious fight. Who they get? Shevchenko.
Yeah, exactly.
Shevchenko was the guy who was the WBA champ, who Malinaji went over to Russia, beat, right, took the belt. The guy then came and fought Ricky Hatton on his comeback, stopped Hatton quite badly, and it was all set up as Hatton's revenge, right? So that's it. So like for like, purely being objective, there is no comparison.
Yeah. And it only and I think it was a divisional thing. It was a domestic thing. I mean, we're gonna go. I mean, in terms of I'll jump. I know we've got agenda, but I'll just jump on it in terms of if you compare Khan to the 147 fighters, where does he compare? Is he top 5? Is he just in the top 10? Is he out of the top 10?
He's put in the top 10. I think he'd be in the top 10. I can't see him in the top 5, So, let's go through it. Errol Spence, number 1.
Yeah.
Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, 2 and 3. Furman, 2, it's that. That's the, that's 2, 3 and 4, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he might be in the top 5. I mean, who else would be there?
I think you would have to put at least a Pacquiao.
Sorry, Terence Crawford is there as well.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, probably 1 and 2. And then, top 10. I'll say top 10.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, and even that is probably at a stretch because there's a couple of guys. I don't want to. I mean, I think him versus Horn would be an interesting fight. I don't know what Broner's looking to do at the moment.
Broner would be a very good fight.
But that would be a good fight. So, I mean, but I think nonetheless, I know they're talking about Pacquiao. And just to go back, I would agree with you. I think he's probably just on the top 10, maybe 10. But I think with the Pacquiao fight, I mean, if you had to pick one, Brook or Pacquiao, which one would you put? In fact, and I'll split that. If you were obviously a UK fan, what would you pick? And as an international fan, which would you pick? Which fight would you pick?
Listen, I saw an article today where Carl was talking about it, right? Look, we clearly know he doesn't like Brook.
Yeah.
We clearly know that. There is also that people can say, looks like he might be avoiding him, right? Now, look, the guy's fought Canelo. So it's not like he's going to be scared of Brook. Let's just get that straight.
Exactly.
Right? Let's just get that straight, right? So these people, you get these people making comments like he's scared of Brook. Really? He's scared of Brook, a guy who's not fought anyone his entire career.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's fought Canelo, one of the pound-for-pound best of this generation.
Somebody with knockout rules.
Right, come on, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's just put that on the back burner. I think the reason why he's not fighting him is because of the abject hate. I think, they've got real kind of rivalry growing up. You've seen them constantly at each other's throats. I remember seeing a documentary where Brook openly was saying, I used to see Khan all the time in the big shows and I never get all their attention and I never got their attention. I was really jealous. So Brook was jealous of Khan and he was coming through after the Olympics, right? Even after he won his world title, right? Bear in mind, Khan was a world champion years before Brook became champion. Years. Yeah, he's gone to America. He's made a name for himself in America. Ryan Brooks seen all of this. As soon as he became world champion, Amir Khan was in the Sky Studios. What did he start doing? Completely disrespecting the guy for no reason.
Yeah.
Right? Kardashian, Queen Khan, I'm going to get you, Queen Khan. But what's Khan going to do? Tell me, why is he going to sit there and think like, what, hold on, mate, you're disrespecting me. You've been disrespecting my entire career. You've never given me my props, right? Now, yeah, you want me to have a payday? You want me to give you a payday? That's the first thing. Secondly, right, this is the argument I spoke to people and they can never reply back, right? I'll say he offered, right, Brooke the biggest payday of his career.
Yeah.
He offered him 20% of the purse and he didn't take it. And they're like, why should he take 20% of the purse? I'm like, you're the same guy that says they're completely the same thing about Wilder.
Yeah.
Right? Right? The same thing. You're the same guy that said Wilder's been offered the biggest purse of his career. Why is he not taking it?
Yeah.
Right, so using your own judgment, tell me why he's not taking it. Right?
Yeah.
So let's use that. Right? So he's been offered the fight. He's offered the biggest purse of his career. He didn't take it. Can we say he's avoiding it? No, because he clearly is chasing the fight. Okay? So on that basis, you know, like, I mean, I don't think, you know, he's scared of him. I think he just doesn't want to give him the payday.
Yeah. And you would rather, so which fight, and what would you rather see, Brooke or Pacquiao?
Yeah, so coming back to that, right, so the article we saw today, right, is like, look, from a legacy point of view, if we're truly looking at this objectively, right, which is a bigger fight?
Exactly.
The Pacquiao fight is clearly the bigger fight. Whether it's in the UK, whether if Pacquiao comes in, there'll be a massive pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Right? Nobody, the vast majority of people truly still don't know about Brock in boxing. Right? You're going to have to be the hardcore boxer to know about Brock. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? Most casuals don't know him, but a lot of people would know Pacquiao. He's clearly the bigger name. Right? He does much more for his legacy. 10 years down the line, Amir Khan CV, Brook or Pacquiao, which one looks better? Pacquiao. 8 division champ, superstar, part of the biggest fight in boxing history. Of course he's got to be Pacquiao. There's no question. You know, and then there's Brook and how far him after. So I think if he can't make the Pacquiao fight, I think he fights Brook. That's my view.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and I agree. I think, for me, I don't even look at, I think, look, okay, domestically, blah, 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 yeah. But I think if you're talking purely as a boxing purist, the Pacquiao fight, it is a bigger fight. There's no doubt about it. I think the interesting thing is, which is quite, I'll say clever, but what I do think is interesting is, and it was a question I asked myself is Khan actually playing Matchroom? The reason why I say that is because he has a 3-fight deal, 2 fights already used up, 1 fight left. If he doesn't fight Brook, right, there's 2 things that can happen. He could fight Pacquiao, Hearn makes that fight, still gets a bit of money, but then Khan, off the back of the Pacquiao fight, could potentially independently set up the Brook fight, so he doesn't even need Matchroom. so Hearn's not fully in charge, you see what I'm saying? Hearn is only controlling Brook.
I think you will have to be in charge, but you're right. Actually, I never thought about that, because after this weekend's fight, in the post-fight commentary, Hearn made that specific comment.
Oh, really?
Either he fights Brook next, or it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? You are telling me Brook wouldn't fight Khan if Khan fought Pacquiao, beat him, it could become an even bigger fight.
Exactly.
So Brook's not going to say no. So why would we make a comment like that?
Exactly.
Right, that ties into the contract. So, like, you know, he fights Pacquiao next, he's out of the contract, he's now got a bigger resume. So I think you're right. You know, Khan's been in boxing for a long time, man.
And he's got smart people around him anyway. I mean, I know he's got, but you could see from, and I know people will be like, yeah, but what about the scandals? But what I mean is, like, if you got to check it from Olympics, how he's been, like, not even protected, but how, like, the camp have been around him. Like, he's got into celebrity, whatever it is, in the jungle. He's if you want to argue, like, Khan is an Olympian first and foremost, and he's much more recognizable than Brook, and Brook has to understand that if somebody who's equally as attractable in terms of Pacquiao that's the fight you're always going to take. Even more so because Khan might have more of a chance of beating Pacquiao now than he would have done 3-4 years ago. So
that's like Khan is mainstream. We cannot deny that. Right?
Yeah.
You know, the guy has his private life is for example. It's what I'm trying to say. You know, when you're on those kind of shows, you're sort of, you feel like, he's just outside. He's a bit of a celebrity. There's no denying that. You know, something private is happening in Keller's book side. Would you see him on Good Morning, for example?
Exactly.
Would he stuck with his wedding for OK magazine? No, right? So Khan is mainstream. There's no denying that. Right?
Yeah.
You know, he was really the kind of first superstar of this generation. Right? Besides Anthony Joshua, go back, right? When Amir Khan basically won the silver belt, who was the bigger name than Amir Khan in boxing at that time in the UK?
Yeah, to be fair, nobody really. Nobody.
No one. You know, it was him. You know, so he's kept that kind of whole thing off, you know.
Yeah.
So, I think he should fight Pacquiao next. I think it's definitely a bigger fight. You know, I think he's got a better chance of beating Pacquiao now, you know. Pacquiao is getting on, and I think if after this fight, if after another training camp he gets speed and stamina back, I think it will be he's got a good chance of beating him.
Yeah. So, bro, let's get on to the Triple G Canelo. Get on to that. In fact, so I see we got a caller on. It looks like we got the Mr. Appy, the resident. How you doing, Daniel? You good?
I'm very well. How are you?
Not too bad, bro. Not too bad.
How you doing, Daniel? You all right? Yeah, I'm fantastic, mate.
What's on your mind?
What to say? Good bit of boxing on Saturday. The Khan Vargas fight was a good one. Enjoyed that. I thought Khan looked good at times. Had a bit of criticism. Second fight back after a long time. And I think he's done what he had to do. He got the victory in the end. So he's done what he had to do. At times he showed his abilities. And he's done what he had to do and roll on the next fight. Daniel, do you think he's still got a bit to improve because he's been at the ring for a while, so he can come back to his best? Or do you think he's at that stage of his career, he's 31 years of age, you know, he's not. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is you look at boxing, he's going to be 37, I believe. He's 37 or 36, right? Manny Pacquiao, 39 countries, still fighting, Floyd, up to 40 years of age, right? Klitschko had an amazing fight with Joshua at the age of 41. I mean, can we see someone like Khan, you know, getting better again, getting back to his original best and still giving us 4 or 5 years of boxing? I think so, yes. If he can humble himself a little bit and he wants to improve and he wants to be a champion again, of course, yes, of course. He's 31 years of age. You've got Pacquiao, what's he now, 39 is he coming up to? Yeah. Pacquiao? 40. Yeah, I mean, if he really wants it, he's still got a bit of a career in the game. So yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, there's still solid fights out there. Even if you're not fighting their league, you know, you can fight Broner. We're talking about Broner. I'm sure Broner will fight him. You got the likes of Vargas, Jesse Vargas in America. So I think there's good 2 years still left if you wanted to. You know, at least 4 or 5 fights up the ball. Yeah, that's if he wants it. Yeah, he's up for it. Definitely. Why not?
Daniel, what did you make of the weekend's fights?
Well, you know what, to be fair, the only 2 fights I've really seen are obviously the Garcia
and Porter. Yeah, that's the fight I meant anyway. So yeah, what was your thoughts on that fight?
To be honest with you, obviously Porter got the victory. But you know, Garcia, in a way, he could feel that he's been robbed. Yeah, I mean, he was kind of unlucky, weren't he?
Yeah, okay.
Unlucky. Can you say he was robbed? Would you say he's robbed? Would you say he's robbed? I mean, I wouldn't say he's robbed. It could have gone either way. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, I mean
like Garcia's had, it could have gone either way. You know, Garcia's had many dodgy decisions in his favour. You know, the Lamont Peterson fight, for example. I thought Peterson won that comfortably. You know,
I mean, I think
he's got no excuse to him.
to be fair, I was saying that's what people are going to say. Like I said, I had it for Garcia. I think, we're going to touch on it obviously in a bit later on, but I do think robbery is probably harsh. I think it was a close fight. So when I see close fights, it's down to the judges and the judges' objectivity. And I can obviously understand ringside, the punches that are being thrown and the ones that Porter's missing, you can't always see those. So it looks like he's hitting him. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But I thought overall it was definitely a good fight. Good contest from both of them. Hopefully we get some unifications moving forward.
Yeah.
So, and Daniel, what do you make of this weekend's fight? Triple G Canelo, do we?
Is that Triple G v Canelo?
Yes.
I'm going for Canelo. God, Joe.
Okay. Any reason?
I'm going for Canelo. Yeah, I'm going for Canelo, mate. Why is that? Why should Canelo going to win this time? I just think, listen, what's Triple D going to come forward? He's going to come forward, isn't he? And then what's going to happen? He's going to get his head boxed off, isn't he? As he comes forward. That's what's going to fucking happen. What do you think he's going to fucking stop Canelo, do ya? Why didn't he do it in the fucking first fight? Everybody's saying fucking Triple G's going to knock him out and all this. Like that. Trust me. He won't knock him out. Believe me, Canelo will win that fight. But this time Canelo might have had the clenbuterol stripped out of his body, mate. Well, we'll see, innit? He might not be so juiced up there, you know. Well, we'll see, you know. Yeah. Let's not jump on bandwagons. Let's a little bit. I think we should jump on bandwagons, mate. Something like that definitely needs to be brought up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think.
Do not take drugs in boxing, mate. No good.
Yeah, I will. I mean, for me, again, we're about to touch on that next, so you hear my subject. But yeah, for me, I feel this fight. I agree with you, Dan. No, when I say agree with you, that's who I'm going for. It's probably not who I want to win, though. But I'm picking Canelo, and I'll go into that later. But I think no matter what, the shame of the clenbuterol is very, very bad, Daniel. I know what you're saying is like it's gone,
bad,
but it's very, very bad.
I'm not condoning that.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning it. But we're talking about the two fighters in the ring.
Yeah.
They've cleared him. They've cleared him, isn't they? He's in there. He's competing.
Yeah. I mean, in that sense, it's for our entertainment. That is the truth is, and we'll move on.
A 6-month suspension was pretty much like a holiday for him.
Yeah.
And it was basically on vacation. He had no impact.
The thing is, man, and you're right what you're saying, in that, but the problem is we also want to see this fight as soon as possible. So it's one of those things where we know that the punishment wasn't correct, but we have to accept it because it's gone. But yeah, we'll touch on that anyway. But D, listen, thanks for the call. Appreciate the support as always. We're going to move on to the next caller quickly as well. All right, take it easy. 060, the floor is yours. Hello. Yes, hello. 060, what's going on?
Yes, man. Shane, man. How's it going, geezer?
Oh, yeah, Shane. What's good, man? Long time.
Long time, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I've been a silent listener for a bit because I haven't seen much of the fights recently, so there's nothing for me to really contribute. But I did watch the Garcia and Porter on the weekend, so just adding my little contribution.
Okay. What's your thoughts?
It was a good fight. It was a good fight. And Garcia, he did a cleaner work.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And like you're saying, Porter missed loads of shots. But regardless, he got way more. He actually did the better. He actually did the most work. He did the most work. Whether it was that effective, no. Garcia's was more definable. He didn't waste his shots. But at the end of the day, Porter seemed to be dictating that pace for most of the fight, I would say, more than Garcia did. However, Garcia, I'm not comparing him to the TBE, but at the end of the day, Mayweather would do the same. He wouldn't be like pushing forward typically, but he'd give the cleaner shots. However, I think Garcia maybe got hit with one too many shots, and he seemed to be shook a little bit more than I would have liked him to be. So at the end of the day, I give it to Porter, and I'm happy for Porter. I'm glad that Porter got it.
And And I sort of agree with their assessment. That's the way I saw it. I just thought that Porter clearly outworked Garcia, and I think the stats back that up, right?
Without a doubt.
So that's the first thing. Up to, I thought he was missing a lot. What a got up by Porter. If you get on the elbows, you get caught on the cuffs, So a lot of that. Yeah. Every time he was trying to punch, he was getting missed, right? But because Porter was doing 2, 3, 4, 4-punch combos, he was catching Garcia.
See, the thing is, but
if I'm not mistaken, he got if I remember correctly, he got something like around 75% that flipping total punch output was Porter's, landing punches.
So that's the thing. So I was just actually going to. So I was just going to quote that. That's the thing. So the final punch that in terms of the body over the 12 rounds, Garcia was 35% landed and Porter was 24%. Right. So Porter was the one. That's why I say for me, I agree with you in terms of. I think from the 5th. For me, Porter had the 4th round, I remember, and then from the 6th round, he definitely upped his game. But for me, again, there was the cleaner work in the first 3 rounds was Garcia, but then he didn't. His output wasn't enough. He wasn't using the jab enough. I mean, in some of the rounds, he barely even threw the jab, and those are just the little things. In when I look at the stats, in fact, all the rounds he didn't even throw the jab more than 15 times. Do you see what I mean? Only one round.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because the first 3 rounds, I was thinking, bloody hell, Garcia's got this man number.
Yeah.
But then Porter seemed to just pull something out the bag. But you see, now, what would we put that change of heart down to? It's not that the man didn't train. It's not that he hasn't got the ability. I think it is probably those 3, 4 punch combos that he was doing, and he just got gun shy because he's like, you know what? I stretch my arm out for a jab or a straight or whatever, and Porter comes in.
Garcia's always been that kind of fighter, man. He's got very, very slow feet, right? He can't get himself out of trouble quickly. He's not got very fast feet. That's the first thing, right? He's always sort of worked on timing, right? For example, when he fought Amir Khan, right? Khan was blitzing for the first 2 or 3 rounds until he got his timing right. Yeah, he just timed Khan, right? He's trying to do exactly the same thing with Porter. Porter's doing 1, 2, 3, and he's just waiting for that 4-punch to come dip and time him and try and do his left hook. He's got that very vicious left hook, right? I don't think it worked out for him because, number one, Porter's got a strong chin, so you can't put the man down, right? Yeah. And if you haven't got quick enough feet to get out, so someone like Furman, right? Furman was able to get out. He was able to move back, get around the ring. Garcia can't do that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, the other thing in them.
Reminded me of a little Frazier in there, man.
Exactly. And the thing is. And then what you're saying about the movement, also what was different is he wasn't quick enough because even when he tried to move back, Porter was able to close the distance immediately. Do you see what I mean? And he was following in and throwing in. But a lot of the times he was still missing. So I think and listen, I know that was a fight. When you watch on TV, you see certain things and you have to know and appreciate that when a judge sees him or her won't see all of that. So that's why I wasn't saying it's a robbery. Okay, can he be hard done by? Yes, but also it's one of those ones, it's a vacant belt, so you have to also show, do you want it enough? And the key thing you said is the pace was with Porter. So yeah, I mean, it was a good fight though. I was happy with that as a fight overall for a belt.
It was nice. It was refreshing. It was refreshing to see.
And what's your thoughts on Canelo Triple G? I know you might not be up to speed, but you know the names.
That's the thing. I'm not entirely up to speed, but yeah, I mean, after the first one, what do I say? He's not juiced up. Well, assuming he's not juiced up, he had none of the Mexican beef. If he had none of the Mexican beef, God knows where he's at. God knows where he's at. That's the thing. But I still think it's Canelo. I think he's got the technical ability to do it. I do think so. Yeah. I reckon so. But
I think we should get it verified, right? But I think he's still not signed up to the WBC clean testing program. So that'd be interesting to look at.
Nah, I swear he is. You know why? Because they're talking about that special belt. So I doubt they would be promoting that special belt that they are for this thing if he hadn't signed up to that, bro. Because there's
wait, what's that? Run that by me again, because my line's a bit funny. Did you just say that he's not signed up to some kind of testing or something?
Yeah, I'm sure I read 1 or 2 weeks ago that Canelo today hasn't signed up to the WBC's clean testing program.
Yeah.
The WBC is the only governing body that's got a testing program. So if you're part of the WBC and you're going through their ranking system and fighting their fighters to get up the ranking system, you have to be part of the testing program.
So as of when was he signed up to them?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, let's see, the BBC, like I said, in spread belt, so it'll be embarrassing if they were to go through that plan and then the guy even taking to win the belt. And also, then it can be done throughout. So yeah, I'm going to look into that. But I mean, for me, I kind of agree with you. I think we're going to touch on it a bit more, but I do think again, Canelo can get the victory. But I think when I say I want Triple G to win, I think it's better if Triple G wins after that scandal. That's just my personal opinion. So
I think based on like the previous horrendous decision by Adelaide Bird, right? There's going to be a lot of pain, right? So I don't think it will be correct, right? No judge is going to take the risk of taking Brandon Brooks got a lot of right? Because why is that? Right? Yeah. It's not going to be Triple G to win, right? So if it's a close point, I reckon Triple G will get it. Number one, because of Ashley Bird, and number two, who's going to be associated with this fight.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. He's going to be. You would imagine he's going to be 2-3 rounds down. Just to confirm, so he enrolled in drug testing program. He has, and that was done in May. So yeah, he has enrolled. Yeah, so.
After enrolling in testing program.
Yeah, and reading May 16th of May. 16th of May. 16th of May. Dan Raphael ESPN.
3 days after he was removed from the WBC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's in it. So yeah, so back you can fight.
You know what? I don't respect any drug sheets, typically speaking.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Charles not. I do think watching something, especially the lower hip and all that. I a bit kind of big. And someone Canelo's been in there. I'm not fan of Chino or that. But however, I can want Canelo to do it as meant to be clean and all of that. And I just want to be able to put that chapter behind him. But yeah, I mean, if G got it, then you know what? I think in a just world, it would also be a decent outcome because it was a drugs cheat. However, in my heart of hearts, I can't lie, being a bit biased here. I want Canelo to take it, man.
Yeah. No, definitely, I hear where you're coming from and that. So listen, Shane, appreciate the call, appreciate the support. Yeah. Try and call in next week and when the fight's taking place and we can discuss the result.
Definitely watching the boxing this weekend, mate.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, bless, man. Appreciate that. All right, bless
nice
up,
show,
man.
Lads.
Thank you very much, man. Take care.
Right,
cheers. Bye. Yeah, and so yeah, just touching on that, on the Canelo Triple G fight, obviously. Is this the biggest fight of the year?
I think you're going to compare it to the Fury Wilder. I think at the moment you have to say it is the biggest fight of the year. I think money-wise it's probably going to generate more money than Fury Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but boxing's in a good place. We're getting the likes of Canelo, Triple G to Fury Wilder. It's an amazing.
Don't forget Billy Joe Saunders and Andrade. I mean, yeah, there's, and that's what I mean. There's so much fights. I mean, yeah, for me, I think I would agree with you in terms of is it the biggest fight of the year? Yes. I think Fury Wilder will be up there, but I think if you're talking about momentum of two fighters, and when I say like winning streaks, no real time, then I would say, yeah, you've got to look at this as candidate for fight of the year, and biggest fight of the year. Second one, we've got to make our case for who do we think is going to win. What's your case and what's your pick?
I'm going to go. It's really hard. I think this time Triple G is going to come out more. I think they're going to come out looking for the knockout. I think it's going to hurt him, right? But I still think he can Canelo. We've never seen Canelo really ever in his entire career.
Yeah, that's how you can see that. I think it's the same for both of them.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like the reason I've seen that is what we have seen is basically Canelo moving backwards into the fight for the fight. Now, if he wasn't cautious of Triple G's power, he would have done that. He fought the entire back. He fought for the back foot for the entire fight. And he only did it if he was cautious of his power, right? Because he felt it. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So that's the reason I'm saying. Okay. I think one of the things I could probably criticise George in the first fight was that he probably didn't put enough at the start, and he probably didn't exert enough pressure. So I think this time he will, and I think more pressure he puts on Canelo, right? Now again, Canelo was also previously in his career. I think like people say he was a bit flat-footed in the early start of his career. Look like with Floyd Mayweather. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he's obviously improved quite a bit. But I think if Triple G ups the pressure, increases the power shots and maintains that pressure over 12 rounds at a high rate, I think he will win.
So do you know?
I mean, even the last fight, I think we can. I mean, any objective I say Triple G actually won.
Yeah, I mean, I put Canelo, and I said, I scored it for Triple G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you think it'd be different this time for Canelo to win? The only thing we could say is probably because of age.
So yeah, so
Triple G is better, you know.
So for
But
me,
what do you think Canelo could change?
See, that's the thing. I think when I look at 2 fights previously, and this is what I mean when I say, like, I think this is a tough fight to call on any level. But I did the fact that, you know, somebody's been cheating and the impact of that cheating, who say they're going to wear off in 6 months, 7 months, a year for start number one. But added to that, it makes it a very tough fight to call. I think after the first one, again, we don't know what. You know, you raised a good point. We don't know what he was taking in terms of, do we know that now he's tested, maybe he's not on, maybe he was on in the first fight, and now he's not on it. Maybe that's caused impact. I don't know. For me, one of the key things, I just felt that Canelo has more of a game plan that he can, or less game plan to improve, and it's that if he can keep his feet moving, keep his stamina on point, I think he can win the fight again on points, because he was in. None of them really.
Let's not forget that.
He does. He does, but I think, I mean, to be fair, he does, but I think in terms of Triple G, like the older guy, and not just that, there's the movement, there's the ring craftsmanship, which I think Triple G also displayed that he doesn't have. He doesn't bob his head enough, and he doesn't cut off the ring quickly enough. So for me, those are things where I think Triple G.
I think you just cut them off. Canelo.
Not in my opinion, bro. I hear you, but for me, it's not winning for me. So I just think Canelo can improve his footwork in terms of just being fit and being able to get out of tight corners. I think the pattern is always the most interesting thing. I don't know if either of them put them out. So this is where I'm actually starting to think now. I think Canelo could win, but I actually won't be surprised if there's controversy, bro. Because like you were saying about the judges and reputation, any judges that seem to be too favoritism for Canelo is going to look shady. Also, they must have that in the back of their head. So he could be 2-3 rounds down from the start, just like Shaw was when he fought Dillian White and through the table. It's a really tough pick. I think if I'm just talking about it, like no controversy, I think I can see Canelo getting a points win. I think the right result, though, and I will say this, and I rarely say it like this, the right result for Triple G to cut Canelo.
100%. I mean, I will say that. I think boxing will strike big sigh of relief if that happens.
Yeah.
You know, because Canelo has become the kind of sport boxing anyway.
Yep.
Probably Canelo that WBB, but Hoskins is no denying with what Triple G for a long time until he got older.
Yeah.
You know,
he dropped the belt. He got the belt, dropped the belt. Like, I mean, don't forget, I like Smith. No disrespect. You know what I mean? Fighting Khan, fighting Liam Smith. Like, really?
Yeah. Will Canelo get for beating Triple G?
No. I mean, objectively, what I should say is it depends on the style. I think, but again, I think for me, he has to outbox him, because if he knocks Triple G out, Canelo has to outbox like Triple G throughout, because if he knocked him out, that's going to be more people be like, oh, you've been caught cheating. Like, how do we know? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If he gets knocked out, I mean, he's got nowhere to go. If he gets knocked out, he would want something last time, right? You took something last time, but why is it this time you stopped?
Yeah.
Why is it this time you couldn't get through 12 rounds without your stamina catching up with you at hard and back to the 11th round? So he's got a lot of weight, man. And if he took drugs last time, he's not taking it this time. He's going to have a lot of stuff on his mind. So he has got no choice. He has to comprehensively outbox Triple G. He's not been changed. Like, you have to give all 8 rounds, right? Because, you know, it's close. Every other day, you have to give it to Triple G. You have to. You know what I mean? And I think boxing has to. Boxing deserves that. Boxing needs that. You know what I mean?
I can talk, and can I touch on something that you're saying? And Shane says that, again, it slightly resonated with me in the sense of, like, I think Triple G is overrated. I think he is good, but for me, he should have moved up division. He's probably more glorified than Brook because, like, he's, you know, in terms of some of his out. But for me, it's like there were real challenges ahead of you, and he hasn't done it. And the only thing he waited for was Canelo, and there were other fights you could have made. You know, the fact he even took the Brook fight. You know, I always give Brook more props for that reason, because he took the Triple G fight. So for me, it's like Triple G also doesn't deserve to. Okay, I'm not gonna say he doesn't deserve to win, but it's like him winning isn't the fairy tale that I even a persona, like, you know, it's so tough. Like,
he needs this for his legacy. Because it's absolutely right. Any true objective boxer, and we have been saying it for a long time.
Yeah.
If you're objective, look at his career, he's got no one in his resume.
No one.
First to force out Daniel Jacobs, he went 12 rounds,
Exactly.
and people say Daniel Jacobs won that.
Exactly.
Right? Canelo doesn't stop. You know, he doesn't stop the search for any fighters he faces. You know, if he was a true great, he would have moved up. You know, again, the Triple G fans, you know, the logic doesn't seem to sound right with them. The logic with Triple G fans. It's like, why should he go up and fight a fighter? Why is he making people come up?
Exactly.
You know, there's no logic. You know, it's one of the biggest with boxing fans, right?
Yeah.
The logic goes out the window.
Yeah.
You know, the same ones that will say, you know, wow, let's get the biggest payday of his career. He should take it. Right? would say why Brook takes 50% of his career, but 20% of the purse, even though it's multiple times his biggest payday to date.
Exactly.
So,
or not even that. Why should Anthony Joshua turn down his biggest payday? Like Wilder stupid for turning down his one, but Joshua equally turns his one down, and no, it makes sense. So unfortunately, that's just the world of boxers. We see it. It's the camps. To be fair, one thing I'll say, as much as it's frustrating, I guess we need it because that's what breeds the sport. But yeah, I totally get you. Like, there's just no logic. I mean, I won't lie to you though. Like, I realized it was fight week. There were about 10, 15 for me. That's like, I would not mind being in Vegas for this one. No.
yeah, man. I would love to be.
I'm telling you.
Can we expect a trilogy? If a trilogy, maybe we could go. Wait, how likely is it that we'll get a trilogy?
I think we're gonna get. I think we'll get a trilogy. Obviously, we deep down know it depends on Canelo more than anything. But I think we'll get a trilogy, especially if it gets a decision. I think even if Triple G wins, will Canelo want a revenge? Possibly.
They must have rematch clauses. I'm sure they both got rematch clauses.
And with this, I mean, you would hope so, but at the same time, the way the politics of this fight kind of been on, I won't be surprised if it isn't. I won't be surprised if it's this. Yeah, I think we should expect the G, and I'm positive and hopeful that we will get a trilogy. So quick moving on. Porter Garcia, thoughts on the fight? I know we touched on it with some of the callers. So I mean, outside of deserved win.
Yeah, I should say. And I thought, before the fight, I would have thought that's exactly how the fight would have gone. Danny Garcia with his slow feet would struggle to get out of the way. This poor style save every single fight. Relentless, ball in the China shop, charges you, thousands of punches. Same water, isn't it, right? Does he have the feet to get out there? Not really. All he can do is time. But remember, what he does is very good is overhand right and left hooks, right? There's a lot of Brook was timing him with strong jabs, doing small jabs and uppercuts. It's like Brook was punching it. So, yeah, I thought Porter finally deserved the fight, and Garcia deserved the loss, he's had his some long time. He's had quite a few questionable wins, and this was coming by itself.
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, last week it's on record, so I can look like that, but I picked Garcia for the very reason we kind of did. But then, as fight week can happen, you start looking into it a bit more. And I'll be honest, there was a part of me that just started saying to myself, okay, well, Porter has kind of failed at, like, let's say a Brook defense and the Thurman fight, and I started thinking, like the boxer is probably on past showing, it's probably been, I felt Garcia in the boxer. Then there was a little bit of controversy around him, and then I just thought, yeah, Porter's going to be erratic. Is he going to be able to change his game plan? So I just felt maybe Porter Garcia's the footwork to kind of just negate that aggression. So I started leaning to Garcia a little bit on the night, and then I think one of the guys said that Garcia is the favourites, and that made me think a bit more. But watching it, I was very split down the middle. Overall, I think Porter deserved the win. I did saw it for Garcia, but like I said, they were close rounds. So even when I heard the decision, it wasn't. I was like, no fucking way! Like, this is a joke. I was like, I can see why. There was a lot of aggression coming from Porter, and I think people also have to remember when it's a vacant belt, sometimes it is about who's doing more, because it's kind of energy and who wants it. Are you enough to be a champion? So yeah, I think he deserved it, and I think for his character, we know him and father. They've been down in the studio. We've linked up with them a couple of times. They're good people, so they deserve it. I think the real problem is he's the weakest out of all the champions.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Yeah. So with Errol Spence Jr., who was there, watching the fight, it's literally a question of time, until take those belts off some Russian water. I've always thought the one person that would probably give Errol Spence a proper challenge would be Sean Porter. The reason I say that is Sean Porter is himself a beast, right? He's got a very strong chin, so he used to fight at middleweight, right? So he's a big himself, even though he's quite short, right? And I think for his small ring nature will probably stop everything what he does, So what do you think? Is it just a question of time before Sean Porter loses that?
I mean, to be honest, I think if it was to maybe, I think for me, he's, my thing is, I think he's easier defending that belt probably against Crawford or Thurman. If he fights Spence, I think Spence will take the belt from him. I think when I say the style, I mean just direction. He's gonna Spence like that, standing in the dogfight. If anything, that's probably the wrong thing to do with him, because you need to be boxed and keep him at distance and make him miss shots. So I think that'll be all good for Spence, and I think Spence knows that he can rough him up, even though there's the Paul's been a middleweight. I think you look at the height, you look at the strength of the individual fighters, the power. I think my mind's on Spence for that, to be honest with you. And the thing is, my thing is this: I think it's a bet for Paul, but I know it won't happen. It's actually better to fight Crawford, because Crawford needs a true 147 test with a guy that's going to be up in your face non-stop. I think Paul probably brings that more than Thurman.
And then we see the whole Arrow. Do you see can that fight be made?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't know, because
I think I'm moved to. I mean, he needs to go over there with all the serious fights.
And otherwise, he's going to be seen as holding hostage, because all the champions are with PBC. So what are you fighting for?
Yeah, he's going to fight.
Pacquiao, Khan.
This goes back to the point where the PBC had best roster. And I think the answer is yes. Can't be anyone objective can deny that. I mean, on what basis can you say no?
Exactly.
What's the basis? Not me.
Heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion.
Is it Matchroom? No, because Matchroom, if you boil it down, they're so cheaper. Who else have got?
Everyone is a rising. Holy great fighter rising. Waxy fighter rising. Kelly again rising. So when I'm saying rising,
compare that to the upside, man.
You can't.
Tony Stevenson. You got
Paddy Jack.
Hurd. You got the
Charlo brothers. Spence.
You got you've got Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. Any way you talk about it, second Davis. So if you're really serious in world boxing, you've got to deal with them. Yep. Right? The whole reason Aaron is linked up with Frank Ward in one combat the potential from John Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie Hearn, right, wouldn't really be able to penetrate the market, because all he's going to be doing is taking less of it. And the bottom line, the way he's with Deontay Wilder, I think is left a bad taste for all the fighters in PB. Have you heard it, right? You saw what Broner said when when Eddie Hearn made an offer to him. He said, "Slave got he used kind words," right? Same thing. Someone accepted the terms of Charlo's match and how happy to accept and stuff. You know what I mean? I can't remember. It was like one of the Charlo came out viciously. So clearly, within the PBC stable, there's a very strong anti-Eddie Hearn kind of.
100%.
And
I'm be honest though, bro. You know the thing, and this is why I think it's a shame. But I wouldn't say shame. I mean, I actually think that if they could have took a step back, I think it could still probably. I mean, the key thing was Showtime and Foxdale, which PBC announced last week. That was also going to be always going to be the real spanner, because actually, if you think about it, Hearn's not competition for Heyman. Hearn is competition for Showtime and Fox and ESPN HBO, because he can go to Heyman and say, "Listen, I don't want to sign fighters. I'll do boxing nights, and here's a check to do."
It's not billion actually.
Exactly. We know that. Yeah.
The billion was like the expected revenue.
Yeah, and it's Dretford, right? So I mean, Dretford over a few years, it works to be. It's still a higher amount of money. Good figure. I think we should always have say
like $120 million for years or something. And like, what I understand is on his own website. I mean, if someone's been given $1 billion, like, just stay on that place. Just one location. It's not in links worth, right? I put something on his Facebook group, and they're like, "It's a good website." And I'm like, sorry. How bad is all like that then?
Exactly.
Right? You're having a public announcement. You've got billboards. They're going to take up your website yourself. It's an anti-nest. It looks like one man. He looks one of those guys. He's always said he's been sold my band. I'm making a traveling around the world. Well, he might be in Emily. I want to walk in Tottenham Road, for example, when the world champions and all that other stuff. That's how it looks like.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
None of the links work. So
I mean, I think, and I do think, for me, I think with the whole the zone thing, I think one of the interesting thing which they clearly haven't factored is, I think one of their show nights is on the same night. So I think obviously the Joshua deal will come on, but the thing is with the Joshua deal, when just like Khan on the weekend just gone, because the UK fights early, or guys coming like 2-3 in the afternoon, you're kind of a flying fight on. A lot of times we're own time on weekend, we're doing up bits and pieces.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about doing this. If you go to the website, it says you can download Android app, or the iPhone app. There's no apps.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a review of the zone and we review the website, say, look, a lot of the stuff it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're saying download our app from the iStore, iTunes. There's no app, mate.
You see?
I tried to download it. It doesn't work. There's no apps.
And the worst thing is, their
really
first
good?
night, bro. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I think it's great for boxing. But their first fight, their first official DAZN pure night, not a UK-led, US-led card. They're actually clashing with the Conor McGregor Khabib fight. Now, obviously, I still always believe.
No, really?
Yeah, I always know boxing's bigger. But for the card that you're showing, if you're going to match the return of Conor McGregor against Khabib, it needs to be an A1 card.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Mate, listen, unless it was something like Wilder.
It has to be Wilder Joshua, bro.
Right?
Listen, even I know that.
Mate, Jesse Vargas fighting
Billy Joe Saunders fighting Andrade is not going to take away.
Bro, but even Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders is not on that night because that's at the end of October.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, man, just
Yeah.
be real, yeah. If you want something like Jesse Vargas was boxing that day, and at the same time we've got Khabib fighting Conor, I would probably watch the MMA, mate.
Exactly.
You know, because that's a super fight.
Exactly, especially when McGregor might get his head smashed in. So yeah, so for me, I do think that the zone thing is interesting. I just think, you know, what the good thing is like generally in terms of the boxing fans and the new boxing fans that have kind of just lapped up everything Hearn said because he is that mouthpiece and he's at the front and you see him a lot. Is that just take what he says with a pinch of salt and think and understand. I think the key thing is.
They will never take it with a pinch of salt.
So
he's just some greatness again. You know?
Yeah. I mean, then that's the thing, bro. It makes it easier for us then because bottom line is either you acknowledge he moves the goalposts or you're just going to spend your time arguing over rubbish because bottom line is, a lot of what that guy says, as much as he is, listen, I always say he's a G for British boxing. But when people say he's the best promoter in the world, he's this, is that, well, okay, let's look at the roster. Let's look at the stable. Because as far as I'm concerned, PBC have the best stable in boxing and they're not getting any props. World champions, multiple world champions in various divisions, and you're just, I mean, bro, it's actually a joke that nobody was speaking about it, that during the Garcia and Porter fight, you had Hurd, Thurman, Errol Spence, the Gervonta Davis, Broner, Easter Jr., the Charlo brothers, all lined up. Same row, bruv. That's crazy. Yeah. So listen, bro. Anyway, man, it's been a good show. So let's wrap it up. So just a quick news. We don't have to talk much about it, but yeah, Warren's teamed up with ESPN for a media partnership. So that's gonna see the US fans get a lot more of the British fans, British boxing. So that starts with O'Hara Davis and Jack Catterall. So I think that's a good look for those guys. And it's been good. So looking forward to this weekend's boxing, mate. Do you want to do a quick shout out for the social medias?
Yeah, guys, so don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Raps on TV, Twitter, Instagram, Raps on TV. The podcast will be available on iTunes from tomorrow, so make sure you download that and follow us on YouTube as well.
Perfect.
And our website, obviously, www.rapsontv.com for all the news and articles and all the 80 minutes of the fighters.
Bless. Appreciate that, bro. Have a good weekend. Take care, man. Speak soon. Cheers.
Thank you.